on you to say a word of prayer for opening day, Blamey.
Thank you, leader. I'll ask my director IPAM to say a word of prayer. He's a pastor in the office, so I'll ask him.
Is this under general order somewhere?
No.
Usually the power of delegation doesn't include to delegate. Ian, please.
No, Sol naman yan.
Oh, wait, problem.
Yeah, why blue naman?
Let us pray. Dear God and gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this moment where we come in to this meeting. Firstly, we would like to give you praise, glory, and honor for sustenance, the power to allow us to live to see another day. Lord, as we come before you in this meeting, we'll be discussing the Public Service Bill. I pray, Father Lord, for the BLC who will be leading us, and the team here in Public Service and the legal team who will be giving the contents of the bill for discussion. I just pray, Father Lord, that you will be in our midst, direct and lead us, guide and give us knowledge and understanding to be able to come to a good conclusion and to have some understanding. Lord, I pray and ask all these things in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Director IPAM. So in the matter of the Public Service Bill 2025, and nobody may start with him, we have the Ministry of Public Service with the support of the Office of the Attorney General, many AG man. You must send him some along with that. AG, BG, CG, or something. So she's her office is assisting the ministry this morning. Welcome to all of you. We have started your presentation. You were doing finish yesterday, so we can this morning go straight into the more general policy context and questions from committee and a conversation, and then at some stage we'll then go clause by clause, or committee might think around whether clause by clause stuff for behind or what other stakeholders come and reflect the bill, and then maybe we can go clause by clause. And no by process blame me for today, and thank you for the a copy of the consultation or synopsis of the consultation report. Please make the full report available to us. This gives us it confirms that you did do the consultations at various stages, and it points out who was consulted. It doesn't tell us what the feedback was, nor does it tell us why you made certain the choices, whether that's based off the feedback that you got. So for now, for purposes of this process, I'm going to accept the synopsis, make me not drag out, but please make the bigger report available to us electronically, so that the Secretariat has access to it. If we have questions, we can always go back to the bigger report. Possible, this one?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Thomas. We will know well over the DS Director IPAM no like talimenting more additional to one MPS talim yesterday. Because if no more, then you may go straight into.
Me no garamenting sir.
No comment to make too.
Hey, true one. Usually you always comment on something. Okay. Okay, so firstly, I just want to ask about the current situation. I know the current legislation is very, very minimalistic. Giving power of minister no more, and hope the minister does the right thing with it. And by and large, it has worked. So in many ways, it's been maximum flexibility. Has it worked reasonably well? I mean, I see the comments in your consultation report. You say, oh, it has 5 sections and outdated, without further backing it up with evidence, it seems like a general statement to make. You know, this old adage, if it works, don't fix it. So has it worked? Maximum flexibility? Yes.
Thank you, Leader, for that very important question in terms of the public service bill. I think Bami talk, then Bami ask him other colleagues for further comment. If you see the report, the synopsis report for GIMCAM in terms of the consultation that was done, actually, the consultation done on actually the 3 stages in terms of the public service bill. And the first one in 2010, this was done because there's usually a huge human resource managers forum where we invited all human resource managers to come from every year. It's a yearly thing. So during this discussion, one of the issues they discussed in terms of the current Public Service Act 1998 and some of the reforms or like informal dream, it's a way of piecemeal approach no more. Like you want a reform to be done, set a policy and then go home, not really setting a standard where a wholesale changes has been made. So if you see the current act, 3 or 4 pages no more, the same like actually the powers here and minister no, but then specify the powers of the permanent secretary, even the minister himself. So there are some gray areas there now. Like they want to like in terms of support him the HR strategy law, public service. The current regulation the current act doesn't provide for that in terms of how for me managing the public service. So by way that we are just amending the general orders and not by problem in terms of improving the public service. So through those consultations, we got the first initial thinking of having a PS bill in terms of addressing those gray areas where the bill cannot address. I think by Yan, he's the chair of the task force bill, and by elaborate more in terms of the content, in terms of what areas now I'm trying for addressing. So with that, the Ministry of Public Service come with them for the draft bill, actually through support of the donor support too, in terms of time. Ramsey was still here, so during this period, government advisors from ministry too, so we consulted them, the fact, and then the first draft them come out, and then the first draft, the team that time, they went out in terms of, if you see the report in consultation, and started 2015, go out to provinces, then during the HR forum, for presenting over the bill itself, the draft bill. And as we mentioned yesterday, the draft one, around 600 pages first time, and around 34 parts. So as time goes on, we go on and said, okay, look at the bill again, consultation has been, and then if addressing what now should go to bill, what now should go to regulation, and what now goes to PSO. So those are the areas now, if I look over the past. So I think I'll give it to DSN, if you would explain to the committee as well in terms of what are the gray areas in the current current act, which the bill tries to address. Thank you, DSN.
Okay, before you do that, just let me acknowledge my 2 colleagues. Member Blow North, New Georgia, immediately to my left, and Member Blow South, New Georgia, further to my left. And before you answer that, Ian, can I ask you to, when you're answering, to say, of course, point out the gray area, point out why it needs to be in the legislation, and point out how it's managed at the moment, so we can see whether it's broken or needs to be fixed.
Thank you, Honorable Leader.
You need to speak into the mic for Hansard.
So, current act here, let me provide him, let's start with the definitions. 3 further definitions no more there, whereas the new bill the Public Service Bill 2025 and provide him around more than 50 definitions. Definitions are important because he define him na some of the terms him used inside. So already the existing act him only got him no more. No, not the, but four definitions no more and provide.
So that issue, how is it addressed? Without it's a new bill with the current legislation, how is that issue addressed?
Around 53 definitions na inside, so there's clarity in terms of time or the administrators or the, for example, or the words or some appointment come clearly defined in the new bill, whereas the word appointment is not in the existing bill.
Yes, but appointments are still being made under the existing legislation. So how do you manage it with him? I mean, it seems to me when you make an appointment, it's an appointment. I mean, you define it or not define it, but it's an appointment. There is no question about it. Has there been an argument, for example, about what the word appointment means currently?
Me just using just one of the, but there are more than, currently appointment am done by the Public Service Commission. They were given the powers to make appointment law public service. So, work out well, law practice, but also no PNL or existing legislation.
I suppose the point I'm making is, in some of these things, and human resource management is one of them, we run the risk of embedding it, entrenching it in legislation, which will be harder to change because human resource management evolves, it's dynamic. We know more. IPAM by teaching all new approaches or learning from something by changing. And you don't want it too inflexible. Putting it in legislation may be inflexible. If you've general orders is much more easily changed or with other tools, you will get a code of conduct or other ethical tools.
So let me give another example. So law existing act, I'm just tell them no minister got empower for making motor rules. Yeah. But then I'm no specify about also motor. For example, if I'm working code of conduct, legislation, existing legislation, I'm not provide for powers for him working the code of conduct. Whereas this time I'm that provision I'm not there.
But there is an existing code of conduct?
Yes, there is.
And it's being enforced?
I'm enforced.
And is it being complied with?
MGRM challenges him.
So it's not being complied with?
Yeah, because currently public service got what cases of discipline where I'm proven that implemented, but there are challenges to him.
Has court ruled on any disciplinary case? Has anyone agreed after you will enforce him code of conduct? And then you will sack him or suspend him or out him pay blame? Him go to court?
There were cases, yeah.
But not court rule him. Code of conduct him no legal or no got him any power or?
No,
him affirm him? Do we know legal drafts lady?
I don't have a record of this.
The court cases.
So, like other principles and values, him no inside law existing act or principles and value where guide him na conduct law public service. So, with this bill, this provision him tell him na other principles and values where guide him conduct na this one. So, for effecting those principles and value, him na the code of conduct. So. Law with this bill and provide him a statutory status law him in a way.
Yes, but I mean I think what I'm trying to get at is if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It seems to me it probably isn't broke. System in breakdown here, and we're trying to legislate, and by legislating are we making it too inflexible? Something where you need him wide berth, so Minister and Public Service Commission, PS, so we make him decisions, changes much more flexibly. We're making it too hard. too difficult. Golo legislation, next time, must come back more for amendment. It's when a court rule law with cases, code of conduct especially.
Thank you. In terms of the court cases, actually, court cases are based on discipline where public service in terms of termination or certain code of conduct or the breach him, then they were terminated. And there's what appeal commission, the commission him like him uphold him listen block. So what I usually sabi ko court na for decide. So there are certain cases where public service and win him through Attorney General, others him lose him. In terms of time loses him, government have to pay him now. In terms of negotiate him now, what na for pay. So in terms of the code of conduct now, the current situation, a lot of gray areas. For example, now set of penalties and what need to be done in terms of then you categorize him too, which one are major, which one minor. Currently, I'm not specifying anything was a major and minor. As long as you break a certain regulation, you apply and go. But the new bill, I'm addressing him now. Yeah.
The legal draft lady, that aspect of it, the code of conduct under existing practice and law. Code of conduct has force of law. I mean, the minister has wide berth in terms of making rules. So presumably, the code of conduct is one of the rules that the minister makes.
Yes, correct.
And therefore, it has full force of law.
Yes, and
It could impose penalties.
in that level as orders, correct.
So he could, under those rules, create offences
Yes,
and penalties.
and penalties. And
You've got maximum flexibility, PS.
if I may, so in the form of orders, what is now in the bill is now will be in legislative, as honourable member said, it's there is consideration of flexibility, of changes, but the legal framework now perhaps more certainty in it than orders. I speak with respect because I don't have the background as my colleagues here have of the. I understand. My little understanding is there's a lot of orders. There's a lot of that's guide. So it's perhaps the more clarity inside an act and regulations for better enforcement. This is with respect from the side of the law drafting side. It can be in orders, but if having it in an act of parliament will actually have there's more certainty in terms of rule of the law being complied with. There's also having flexibility. The cost is that you will be lesser maintenance of it, and broad can be happen everywhere, but looking after it may be an issue. But having an act of parliament will be there's a lot more systematic ways of accountability and transparency. Just to share on this side.
I just, as you know, of course, it's good to bed things in law, but time you put in something in law, it becomes fairly inflexible. Human resource management changes over time. It evolves with new theories, new practice, and you want the public service to be able to evolve with it. And so what's in the bill should be what doesn't change too often, or something whereby he may stop a little bit same for an extended period of time. But I come back to that thing more. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It seems to me the current legislation seems to be working. There are other ways you can overcome the challenges and grey areas you have. You can't overcome them by regulation or rules, Blue Minister. It seems to me the public service has worked pretty well. It's not been politicized, well, perhaps on the edges, but by and large, the public service ministers have refrained from politicizing the public service. But that's my impression anyway. And I keep a very close eye on the public service. If it's politicized, I would be yelling on it. So You know, you will see in our template, the bills and legislation template, that's one of the questions that we ask. Are there other ways you can achieve the same objectives without having to legislate? If there are, we prefer you use those. And if they fail, because structurally, legally, they could not be used for that purpose, then of course, then justify legislation. That's why me ask him that initial question. Deputy Secretary, go ahead.
If I can just add, one of the provision provided for law bill we're missing in the existing act is the scope. Law existing act have no define him na this fella act here by apply law who, whereas this fella the bill provides for that. So I'm clear now, or because for example, teachers the act does not apply to them because what are under law education act here now how to follow. So this bill providing clarity on that too, apart from the principles when we mentioned him earlier.
So currently, or before the Education Act came into existence, were the public service also dealing with teachers?
No.
Or more?
No.
Teaching Service Commissioner, that one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there was clarity there all along.
But although the word public service, yeah, some consider also have cover to teachers, yeah,
Yes.
because of the word public service. But this act can be garam scope. This will apply to section assembly, apply to teachers, section assembly, apply. Like
Yes. But I mean, in practice, they were two separate from the beginning come now. Public service have never deal with in matters for teachers.
it used to before for teachers below Wemapuru and KG6,
Oh,
but
yeah.
now
Yeah,
they're part of the teaching service now.
yeah.
Yeah, then there's no clarity for Talem whereas Bill Talem na. And then for example,
Yeah, that's my point. Him clear no more. You say no in clarity, no more. You lie. Him clear no more. What the bill seeks to do is codify current
yeah.
practice.
Yes.
So current practice clear no more. If you're saying the bill clarifies it, it means you're codifying already clear practice.
Yes, you're
So
right.
that's my point. My point is if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, so practice, I'm now codified.
Okay, anyway, let's move past that. The general orders, how does that work? One major tool, just describe to me the process in formulation of the general orders or any amendments or something else.
Okay, in terms of the general orders, yeah, power for amending general orders, yeah, vested law, PS for public service no more, in terms of the amendment, what part law orders and like for amending. Usually, PS public service and make it secular no more for amending a certain part law, general order for fitting at the time. I give an example. Yeah? If in terms of allowances, or kind of same task force committee allowances, if they want to have a allowance or the request like the general orders, prescribe around for $40 kind of same. Yeah? So we now moving to now we give them for $150 to $300 in terms of sitting allowances for those or the inside task force or even at the interview panels, those in the past $40 we give more than now or like him. So before putting request come to the ministry, we put a standard across the board for everyone. So that's how we was amending general orders. And also in terms of, not only that, but in terms, for example, the annual leave with all this making packets and go finish here. Me amending general orders too. Yeah? In terms of general specify now this and that. So for example, where to go and live, me amending now. I'm no longer go back to Village Blue now. You shall hold there anywhere you like him no more. Because currently we will not be giving you fares. So you start with Temutu, but we're looking for Temutu, standardizing finish now fares across the board for every officer. So that's an example in terms of that one. This David is argumenting.
We only amend existing. We cannot create any new order.
I throw one?
Because power the minister, for repeal no more or administer no more, but to create a new chapter mo, it's for him, Pablo, cabinet na for doing that one.
Cabinet or minister?
If you load GO 102, the secretary is the head of the, STC is the head of the public service, and I'm giving him directive for law public service for carrying out now.
So it is doable. To add a new chapter is doable. It's just, the process now you describe it. So we're doing.
We only amending existing what is in the GO now, but we don't create any.
But shall we create a new one, new chapter?
Yeah, the minister.
Has that been done in the past?
No. For my experience, let me. There's no one, no change no more. It's still 1986. GO still exists.
And why is that?
We do a review. We do a review in 2007, but him not approved.
By cabinet?
Yeah. So him still also working document to this day.
Okay, sorry, any questions?
Thank you, Chair. A comment naman. The question of deficiency law current act, law look naman. The question of who is the employer. I'm not really stated him out clearly to who now employer. If you say government, who or which department of the government now the employer? Is it the commission? Cabinet? Is it? I'm not really clear law existing act here. We can only say government now employer. And who know that one? I think that one me captured a little bit, but me no sabe whether properly answered law new bill. Yeah. And two is law current act here, minister and the commission normal law current act here. The role of the public service have not law there too. That's maybe one of the issues. Chair, me work a little bit low there, so we a little bit, yeah. So that is one reason why we need to tidy him up or expand him a little bit now, the current one, yeah. And then the role of the ministry. Is the Ministry of Public Service a ministry, or is it the secretariat to the commission? Also, really, those are things, but me agree, Chair. Maybe a bit of improvement to the existing one, me by better. But for you, me, them go as leader, I'm telling him. If changes him come, one of the reasons why me, time is still therefore, request him, the committee for out him every page. Now, even the principles and policies, he may put him low bill last time. And this once, any change of government, him say out him in time, but if him in the bill, by him have to be amended or something. So maybe even look low. What else in the bill, him should go into the regulations no more. So that if there is any change, if new government come and him got him any new something, he may know time up to much law bill. So, think also.
You want to reflect to that, PS?
Thank you, Honorable Kuku, for that comments here. In terms of the question, who is the employer, I think that's a legal question. In terms of, I think the legal drafter couldn't enlighten us on that, but actually I think there are cases, there's maybe a case in terms of like commission in terms of, I think an advice was given in terms of that case, who is the employer. I think we could provide that case as well, like actually, it's not the commission, the employee is the government, the employee in terms of that advice that's given based law on for case here. So, as I said, it's going to be a legal question, yeah? Who is the employer? But yeah, Smith-Allen, there's a case, Kamloops Public Service Commission, in terms of the question who the employer, but that advice was him, government actually employer. It's not the commission in terms of that advice. The issue of the public service as a secretary of the commission, that's a legal question as well, whether we could, in my point of view, actually the commission, we provide the support to the commission in terms of the secretary of the commission for in terms of the meetings, we organize him and kind type of and then give more decisions for commission, making a submission commission through the Ministry of Public Service. That's what we do now in terms of the commission. We provide the secretary commission. So the commission actually no got manpower. The manpower is from the Ministry of Public Service, providing that secretary support in the commission. So the commission consists of normal chairman and the members of the commission. So the people work under him, public service. So that's a legal question as well. If anyone wants to add in terms of the thing. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Chair, let's take just a scenario. If you mean like for increasing salary, below public officers, equal public officer now by increasing me. So is that not a conflict of interest? You are a public officer increasing your own salary. It's a question also now, is there a little bit independent, not a commission? Or, and if you say the government is the employer, who now government there? Is it the PS public service? The commission? Or everyone, you mean everyone now? Or Prime Minister's office? Or there must be a body. All same, eh? So those ones now, you need to clarify a little bit.
There is legal draft. The Constitution clarifies this issue. I mean, the government is created by the Constitution. When it says government, there is the broad government, which includes all three arms of government.
Correct.
So here, when it says government, that refers to all three arms of the state? Or it just says executive government?
Executive.
Is it executive?
Yeah.
Correct.
Is that defined somewhere? Is this point? I mean, clause 27 gives that power to the government, but the definition of government itself, because as you know, there is this discussion about parliamentary autonomy,
Yeah, that's right.
and of course the judiciary as well. So if government, definition below him, open enough, flexible enough to allow that autonomy for the all three arms of government.
Perhaps,
Yes, go ahead.
honorable members, I again defer to this bill has been in the making for years that we were not involved in. But if I, having gone through this year looking at the Constitution and perhaps we sharing some thoughts on the relationship between and why reading through the bill, of course it's a huge more numbers detailed than the 5 sections. Now the biggest difference from the drafting, again for us this is also new, the bill to us is, so all of that background we would have loved to know that, but I'm talking with respect from the bill as it is and the current law as it stands. So thank you for the very that question was really relevant. Who is the employer? Just for information, inside the Constitution of Solomon Islands, there are mentions of 7 commissions. From those 7 commissions are 4 commissions which are relevant to this bill. And those commissions, the Public Service Commission, where's my
Police.
The police, yes, the Judicial Legal Service Commission, and the Teaching Service Commission. Now, as colleagues have stated, clearly in the bill that 116A is not part of this bill. So clause 7 says who is court and who is not court. Now go back to the commissions. Inside the Constitution, where it refers to the Public Service Commission, the powers of the Public Service Commission is to appoint, remove, suspend a public servant, an employee. That is the powers inside, and it talks about that's its function. Then it goes on to say, but if you can't employ judicial people, related officers, also, so the scope is in the Constitution. If you decide to employ a staff of the Ombudsman, you have to talk to the Ombudsman first. If you decide to employ, if the Public Service Commission employs staff of the Governor General, you have to, yes, and also a staff of office here of the clerk has to be discussed. So there's limitations of that. Not everyone. The public service is defined in the Constitution as the public service of Solomon Islands, and a public servant is one that gets paid by government's money. I would simply say it like that, simplified language. Yes, so the framework as it is that we have a commission inside the Constitution. Inside the current Act, there is no mention of the Constitution. The CAP 92, it does not make mention of the Constitution. This is with respect again from the reading the law. But inside this bill, there is clear reference to it that the Public Service Commission is now stated further in here on its functions in 116 of the Constitution and 137, I think, yeah, of the Constitution. Those are the functions. So it's like, so now in here, those functions are now detailed further. There is now inside here an establishment. It appears to, this is a full establishment, and there's reference to the Ministry of Finance, who will sit with this establishment to make sure that across the board we have public servants structures in place, the budget to be in accordance with that, and so on. So in the view of limited view from the drafting legal side, this is what this bill does, is that it expands on what is there and says what it is limited to. So it's constitutional officers. Clause 7 sets out what the bill, what employees employ the bill. Subject to this bill, and it's called, so we reference constitutional officers. Right now, we have a number of constitutional officers inside the Constitutional Officers Entitlements Act, CAP 84. There's a mention of about 14, but relevance to this, about 6 officers. Now, in here, it's what happens to those employees? Are they related? Does this bill catch those employees? So that's what this bill does. Also, the police and corrections, what is the relationship with that? It's a constitutional setup. But you find interesting that inside the Constitution, it talks about appointment and removal, but it doesn't say anything else about administration of public service, the structure that they work under. So it's just appointments and removal, nothing else. So that's why also in the bill it says for constitutional officers, although it acknowledges that the constitutional officers have got their own setups via the Judicial Service Commission, but it does say that there's portions of the bill, for example, the penalties, which there's no penalties inside. Yes, so those penalties apply to constitutional officers, because if you look through the Constitution and the Acts, for example, public solicitors have got an act, but it says nothing about its staff. So this bill, for me, with respect to that's that. It kind of like opens and more clarity in the setup of the currently Constitution, and the Public Service Commission is set up, and also the ministry. And what it does, the functions of each, the minister, the Public Service Commission, the other commissions, the two other commissions recognized here, which is the Judicial and the Police and Correction Service Commission. So it gives more details as to the structures in which under which they work, and also the penalties and of non-compliance.
So, yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. So when Parliament and, say, the judiciary, when they finally come up to being able to have, say, here, parliamentary service, how's that going to work here? Which, I mean, autonomy, independence for Parliament now will come down to those who are serving it. Will those still be Public Service Commission appointed officers, or would that be appointment by a new
Commission? Yeah.
a new parliamentary commission or something?
Yeah. I think the word public service say.
Well, you must speak a little mic for Hansard, yeah. No,
As long-
don't think saying
yeah.
all raw.
Sorry, sir. I think the word public service can be simplified. You're discharging service especially to the people. Yeah? In the event when Parliament can become an autonomous body itself, the Wakamane can discharging duty to the Parliament. Yeah. So in terms of like what we're having now, we're having what we so professionals. Yeah. But normally we call them parliamentary officers. Yeah? But in terms of discharging service, they're discharging service not to the Parliament but to the general public and citizen of Solomon Island. So they're discharging service to the public, yeah?
Right, but
Through Parliament.
yeah, but I'm talking about the process for recruitment, management, discipline, and all same. Will that still be under law here? Go back to public service.
The commissions, there are 4 commissions here, one for judiciary, one for teachers, one for police. And if the Parliament can become autonomous out from the 4, then it can have their own commission dealing with.
But I mean, this bill, for him, rope him in no way, only teaching service no out.
Yeah,
Every another one under law,
that bill.
law bill, yeah.
Yeah, but even in the event that Parliament can, I think it can have their own commission as well too. So,
Yeah, you know, big game.
no, I mean based on the current what we have, I mean the practice now. Yeah, like lawyers they have their own. Yeah, Wembley Golo Judicial Service Commission, what they refer to, and if the Parliament legislative commission, what we can call them.
I think, Chair, in terms of this one, I think the arrangement will still come with the Public Service Commission, as David mentioned. We will follow the same one, unless there is a new commission established for the parliamentary services, then we could go for that. But for now, Babam come on this one. I think, yeah.
Side law performance management. So, you know, in your consultation, and I see in various reports, of course, you have been making strides in attempting to make the public service be more responsive and more efficient. You know, those are good objectives to continue to pursue. You succeeding? You achieving it? Do you feel the public service overall is responsive and productive?
Thank you, Leader, for that question. In terms of the PMP performance management, it's been a challenge as well in terms of the PMP law autumn ministries. But in terms of the reforms involved in this time, yeah, actually there's a PMP policy in place in terms of for public offices.
But just answer me before you qualify it. I mean, do you think you're succeeding? Is the public service more responsive and more efficient, more productive?
I think so, in terms of the mandate that Imigim got. I think that they are succeeding, but they could be challenged as well in terms of...
On a scale of
Yeah.
1 to 10, when you score 10 being perfect?
Around 8.
8 Ronia? Yes. Yeah?
I think so in terms of, but it depends on the supervision in terms of who is managing the place.
No, I'm not asking depending on what, I'm asking for current practice. What's your assessment of? You must have your finger on the pulse. I mean, if people are arriving at the office at 8:30 or 9 or 10, they can't be productive. So timeliness, punctuality does have a relationship to productivity and efficiency and also M2. That's just one indication. To say nothing of, you go and make him a complaint and there's nobody to make it to, or you ring and nobody to answer the phone. You ring him sa ministry, and telephone, you also disconnect them, you can make him claim, you have no interest for answer many telephone. Those are all indications of productivity. They're not, I'm a member of the public that's why I called an MP, member of public. So when I call a public service ministry, they seem totally uninterested. No one pick him up phone, no. Time mo answer. What no little bit hello nice come to you. Hey, okay, time. Oh, what time? So I'm not me ask him about this one here. Performance, you must have your finger on the pulse. You must know whether they're being productive. To rate it again, maybe 8 is too high.
Oh yeah, maybe around 7 or even 6. Yeah, yeah. Coming from the Ministry of Public Service, I think in terms of us, I think I rate us around 8. But other ministries, no, I need to get over what no reports have come from, but to us.
Yeah, me ask you overall ministry.
Oh, yeah. Yes, there may be challenges in terms of the PNP, but we are looking at now. You remember, we are now doing some sort of like contracting of public servants, senior public servants, and that is based on performance. Yeah? And if you perform in terms of performance or key output, the key developers, give him. Though I'm open for you go out and take anyone come inside, because you'll find that there are certain positions where people stop long time, go because I'm 55 years old, they know how to go out. And then, suppose man him perform on no more, sabi too. Unless there's serious allegation against him, then they could be charged and then himself go out. But with the performance management contracts here, it gives you the edge to see how they perform. If they don't perform, they could leave. And so, what is implementing this year, but so we'll see how it goes. If productivity happen in the ministry, then because these are the top brackets now. Because in order for you to deliver, man lo down lo yan na mas push him up, yeah. That's man lo down lo push him up, you won't deliver anything in terms of what you. That's how I see it. And to ensure that delivery happen, this man at top should be talking downstairs. How not things the same? We're not things the same. Yeah.
This has been an experiment for many years. You just extend them, go down no more. But we've been contracting permanent secretaries for many, many years. Of course, when post-colonial government, public service, by the way, that was a great time. No any corruption threat, no. Fish and chips, but no threat. Corruption-free public service, wouldn't you agree? Post-colonially, what all man before you walk a. This is no more hot blocked, no, and not something more. This time, Satan stuck at us, man. But in any case, that's not my point. My point is that we've moved away. In those days, permanent secretaries all came through the ranks, and they were very good. There was certainty, predictability. You perform, you go up the ranks. And then we moved away from that, and we contracted permanent secretaries. We took them from everywhere. And when we did that, slide, blame you go down. We need to learn from that lesson. Now you've gone and extended that contract, go down to Minosa, director level or something, and that's good, depending on what happens below them, as you quite rightly point out. So contracts and one, government policy and deliverables must be linked to what contracts here. Deliver one government say you deliver, you out. You're not there to serve yourself. You serve the government of the people. That's very, very important. So matrix, government policy matrix, really very, very important. But the other is then the ability to hire and fire. So if I'm a permanent secretary and I have a contract, the people below me are not delivering on the objectives, where me like for deliver, I can't deliver as a permanent secretary. There are people that must deliver below. But I have no control over hiring and firing them. You know, I'm a lame duck. So there is that aspect. If that hire and fire, because currently that's Public Service Commission for certain levels, senior levels, that's an issue. The disciplinary process makes for a very inflexible, drawn-out, dragged-out affair. That, I think, it just chews up time. So permanent secretary on a 3-year, how many years?
Four.
4-year contract, a key position is going through the process below discipline. How long does the disciplinary process take, typically, on average?
It depends on the case.
Yes.
Yeah.
On average.
So around, let's say around 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Ay, turuan yan?
Yeah, it depends.
Yan, turuan, note money, alam man.
I don't know, it depends on case. If that case like evidence available, no more kind type of same, yeah. If so dispatch, like, they could,
3 weeks.
Yeah. If that evidence now go more investigate kind type, yeah, that one has to take long. And it's system go to provinces because by needing people for go more, fairs money need
Oh, you're doing better on discipline than
Yeah.
I was assuming. Me, ting law, I think out of date now, before, yeah. Time public service suspend them man, put them on full pay or half pay. Then no matter 1 year, but something go ahead, no more go.
So there are certain cases where him take not about 4 weeks and dispose now, but there's certain cases him take time just because evidence na issue and then manpower too. But now we beefed up the PSU law ministry, so actually we are disposing some of the cases very very quickly. But as you rightly stated, several cases here, man. Suppose him at least Casemia. So we try to, as much as possible, for minimize him now. That for the length of time people
Well,
start.
that's great.
Yeah.
But my concern, my point earlier was that if you're contracting senior people, they should be able to determine who must deliver. And if ought not deliver, they must have a say in getting rid of them because they have a vested interest in delivery. But if that's a decision not in their giving, it makes for a more difficult contractual relationship.
So one of our challenges in finding in terms of discipline is, especially when him come to who na report him case, yeah? Most time interview follow up law out of what cases lot ministries. What about corporate too, yeah, for keep him out lot sat no more or same no more time for information relating to a case or same. So most
Turuan,
yeah, most often the gathering information na one file issues in regards to
So the bill,
yeah, the
Makes him that-
MDRM law something. If you would withhold him any information or same, but you find law,
Okay.
or you give him false information or same, you find law
law disciplinary case.
cases.
Yeah.
Him now, and one other thing where him relate to discipline too is most people out in most ministries or pusum kamlo public service no man now kan, because me follow no more do investigation in absent of a manual or yeah where him if what's ever doing too, but currently we're working on one disciplining manual where application will be similar throughout Nalot ministries. So most delegation were given come from level 2 go Kasim 6 yeah, below 7-4 PSs, every discipline should come to public service, which under delegation powers, public service commission, him should be respective PSs for carrying out.
Okay, so it not really work for him.
So yeah, that thing is not really works. Everything pushing come me follow public service now. So with the limited resources, me fal looking after for. And now the size of the public service is going up from 7. This time I'm going up to 8 or 9,000 approximately.
Oh, good. Must go up more. I mean, there's more to be done. The government needs to do more. Of course, probably can't afford it, but government does need to do more. Just let me come back to the issue of productivity. How do you measure productivity? I mean, it's different perhaps for different sectors. But how do you measure it? Do you have tools that you use? What tools? Yes, you use him now, Mike, and move close up.
Okay, currently me fala use him na performance management tool where me fala remote call him PM Form 1, performance management Form 1. Earlier on you asked about performance.
By the way, before submitting come out form, make him look him.
Okay, so before Ota system ota use him na annual confidential report him na general orders. Over the years, find him out that this file ACR annual confidential report him usually got a problem because if supervisor him got him grudges against him staff him by him say write him no more confidential report here then submit him go law PS or same so.
Is that a generalization or an assumption, or you have data to prove it? Of what ACR, if I'll receive him, how many of those over history or semi-talent malicious, and how many are threat one?
Emi, over the years, Ota no really submit him to Ota forms here.
So how many have you received over the last 3 years, for example?
Since 2015, me fala use him na new system him na PM Form 1 here. Because Ota amend him na general orders for with the new performance management policy. So him involve him na dialogue between the supervisor with them staff learn. So those forms here na me fala on average per year usually the ministry submit him come like current record Bloomifel, I'm around 32 as of this year. 32 now the PM Form 1 will submit income. Now these forms here cycle and run for a year. So what by fill him up template here and then by February of a new year I'll submit income for a performance blogger for last year. For example, for this
performance below each individual in their
yes,
ministry.
It's individual. So currently, as this year, Mifal receive him na 32 for forms on only certain ministry. But then, what also delegate him go powers law PS law MOFT, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Agriculture, with them law education. So what by PM Form 1's law, what by no kasem PS law public service. By PS law there no must have award him na or the increment there.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
When I get no more, not ministries no more.
Getting big.
Size na him determine him where I would give him what ministries here. Workforce blotter and B. Yeah. So for each of administrating that one, yeah, I'd give him delegation, go PS Public Service, give him delegation blame for other PSs and Commissioner Block Police and Commissioner Block Correctional Services for doing no more increment rather than sending over to public service for approval every.
Well, why can't you just delegate to everybody regardless of size? I mean, it lightens your load, and if it works in the big ministry, surely it works in the smaller ones.
Yeah, it depends on PS's number if he's overwhelmed with receiving submissions from particular ministry or something. So we give him delegation. Go no.
Depend on PS block.
Yes, yeah.
Public service. So why can't you delegate to all ministries?
We'll see, like in terms of the for PNP, usually come public services currently for other ministries, but we will see, we like look into how in terms of the ministry performed, in terms of how it give not PNP forms, yeah. Because this time, yeah, that one him title performance in this time. What has some Malaysian ministries here? Him title performance blogger. If that means then usually every year if I got him at forum, when for shooting out the board now, Minister of Planning, this one you can come, this Minister of Tourism fully no one you do anything for him now. So I'm title performance blogger head Sarah. So that time like renew more for the next round of like coming to like contract this time. Those are some of the areas you look in terms of how now what do not PMP law ministries blogger. Prior to this one, there are certain ministries where auto game commenting now.
Right.
But presumably you still retain overall authority. So even if you delegate him to Ministry of Education or Health, you would still need to go and do an audit and see if they're doing their stuff internally. And if they're not doing it, you could re-centralize it, or you could put up additional tools to monitor. If you did that, you'd be more efficient in the work that you do as opposed to doing the grind of it.
We'll see how we go in terms of that one. That's the suggestion you mentioned. But in terms of the other issues where you mentioned today, in terms of discipline, too, whole issue where become an issue at the moment. I think the Public Service Commission, I think would look at them in terms of discipline, yeah, where delegated go over the PSS, yeah. Because most of the cases in Kamala Ministry, also public service no more have to do in terms of discipline.
Investigation.
Like me follow being discipline or suspending people, sacking people or something. Actually we are doing that. I'm happen. So actually me follow reporting to public no more, but I'm happen. We do investigation, we terminate people or something. But what about the others where start on level 2 and 6 here? What to save or what no do anything wrong ministry? Are they okay? And part in so it depends very much with the ministries no more whether they able to carry out investigation or kind of thing. So I think that's the thing where commission look at. So in terms of delegation, so that one in terms of for PMP, yeah, we'll look to that. If the need to be raised, that need to delegate other powers for PSS, we'll set into that. Thank you.
Let's just come back to the productivity issue. Yeah, go ahead.
Me find him not challenges with the implementation of the performance management policy. Me find him out los set up here hemi a permanent secretary below each ministry hem na chair below what call him performance recognition committee. So him na should drive him down na the whole performance. So tool available na PM Form 1 yeah, where we shall replace him na ACR since 2015. So over the years we find him ministries are not really fulfill him na or no say follow na cycle the cycle of performance management, and there were challenges in garem the issue. So me feel review currently me feel review na the PMP and me feel like for specify him out inside lo one cycle. Garem 4 stages lo 1 year one cycle for implementing the PMP. So me feel like for lay him out clear lo stage 1 or then deliverables and start come lo PRC na which is chaired by the PRC, stand for Performance Recognition Committee. Hemna committee where should each ministry should garem a PRC or to oversee to make sure that lo annual work plan blogger or the plan for him and or the garem divisional plan and then individual work plan too. So the PMP measure him na individual work plan and final product plan if I expect for receive him na is the PM Form 1. So that tells us how each individual ministry him perform. So him na how and also I think this also go back to the first question where you asked in terms of performance here. So also me mentioned him as of this year there were only 32 no more. I think 8 ministry no more making submission, but not all of the ministries. So there are challenges.
So out of the 24 ministries, how many? No report. 8.
8 ministries for this year, but past year me forgetting but me feel garem record, but really indicating that there are challenges and me feel like tied him up this one me feel like for set him up deliverable where me feel like him at the end of the year me feel like look him na annual report. The annual report reports performance lo ministry level, and then we felt like for receive him to individual PM Form 1. That tells us individually people were occupying more public offices here were not deliverable block. So that those are the tools where we felt like are available, and we felt like tidy him up.
So this PM Form 1 has been in place since 15 years.
2015.
And 2024, 8 ministry no more. Give him come report, eh?
Yes, so far, but we no include him na those 4 ministries where the bigger ministries where
Delegated.
their submission is to their PS no more for.
So Ogat were delegated for Fale. What do you do with them? Do you do an audit, compliance audit, that they're fulfilling their obligations? No good you delegate good and no anything happen. Mamanya give him increment no more, but you want to check him Ogat too?
Final responsibility when come back to Mifala. So Mifala got a mail, so monitoring, evaluation, learning team where what assess him and monitor him na performance load policies. So Mifala by go collecting more data. Also, PS mentioned him every year. Mifal got remote governance forums, and in those forums, him na what Mifal tell him about performance management. Mifal ministry or sem no Mifal shoot him about data for to look him. A ministry or sem you submit him kamos him what na heads are.
So let's just take health as an example. Ministerial health, they have delegated authority to do that themselves. So what has been your engagement with them, law PM Form 1 year?
Me fella by go back a mail unit team and by go assessing back tell them when a data blue fella and take
Okay,
him
so let's just say for year 2024, what now you will do with him to make sure they're doing their delegated responsibility?
This year for last year's performance, me felt so far or the team will not go out yet for.
Okay, well, let's say 2023. What now you will do to make sure that they're carrying out the delegated responsibility?
Sorry.
The delegation is given to 3.
Normally, we call them what we call them the forum, yeah, and that's where we flank him now. Everything we measure na performance by so now how ministries they perform in terms of how many increment na so Ministry of Health normally is presenting too how many increment na award him lo iya osing.
So I mean, it seems to me this is the core of the issue, and if you don't finesse this tool, then we will be talking about performance and productivity as concepts no way. And it needs to be tied to contracts for PSCs, deputy
That's the
secretaries.
problem. Yeah.
So say for health, for example, if you were doing that review or any other delegated ministry with current delegated powers or any other ministry that you're directly handling, and if you do that determination, the assessment, and they're not performing, that needs to be reflected in Golo contract. So when you're doing an interview for PSCs or director or whatever, that must come into what you're looking for. So is that happening? I mean, I know, I had a look at the COVID reports, for example, Auditor General. There are some very serious findings by the Auditor General. And then had a look at the ESP report. There are some really serious, it's just outright theft. In both of those, it just seems to me there's just so much theft of public resources, public funds. But some of those PSAs have been renewed, even 2 times already, by you guys. I mean, on your recommendation, you've carried out the process, and it's always occurred to me, how the hell do we end up in this situation? There is no accountability for this public theft of resources. So, that's why I try to dig low this one here. When you're doing that, it's either you are failing, so you're not identifying where these problems are, or you identifying them, but you're not tying back to the contracts, or you are tying it to the contracts, but maybe, you may man blood Jesus too, you so sorry too, so would you also sorry no more money? Well, go back, serious
this is another
problems.
I think that's very true. Yeah.
Which part? Jesus Lohat Blue or another part?
No, in terms of performance blood PSCs, yeah, I think now we normally or the pin you know that run and dream, yeah.
I mean, the base thing I'm also no. Let's just go back to those Auditor General's reports. Reports here, come here. If me will PAC pick him up, why very good. If not pick him up, that's now. Me will debate lo there. It's all the generalities of it, but the nitty-gritty for accountability, hem lo yuvale. If you are not considering it in the employment process, there's impunity. You know, there's just no accountability. We're not saying the PSCs are crooks. Maybe some are. But what we're saying is, for accountability, the buck stops with the PS or whoever is directly responsible. And if they just, oh, no more, you know, me not still here. Yeah, but you know, you sit down there, it's still under you. That must reflect on their performance. If it's not, the system will break down here, or it's non-existent.
Thank you, Leader, for that very important observation you do. Yeah? Actually, you have been discussing this with the PSC too in terms of this one, yeah? Not only in terms of in terms of performance, but one issue about discipline. No, me tell them too, lo PSC, like in terms of what about having in terms of discipline, him tied to PSS contract minimum. How many people now in terms of tenure have been disciplined or kind of types of tenure in PS. Okay, now with the bill, actually, him provide him now the performance management with permanent secretaries. Him said bill, where currently there is no really mechanism in place how you do assess performance with permanent secretaries. So now with the bill 42 have prescribed him, and then in terms of there should be a performance management permanent secretaries where you could manage them. So this issue now come out in terms of time what to do what performance here. Bye what does it seem now? Talk about audit report, you talk about other things, discipline to become inside. In terms of overall implementation of government policy, do they deliver kind of person?
So this whole PFM or whatever Form 1 by, does it have all that? So you're assessing your own ministry and you submit go, and then annual report blue follow, then audit, any internal audit reports, findings, any external Auditor General's reports concerning your ministry for that year. All of that's listed there, so you, at a bird's eye view, you can see the overall performance or lack of it or misperformance, or is it just the personnel side no more?
Garamna two components lo PM Form 1, yeah. One measure deliverables, especially na what work plan for the year, and the other one try to measure attitude. Do you tend to work on time or you absent kind of same? So him na content below PM Form 1.
No intimona. So
Yeah.
what issues were raised by Auditor General would not necessarily, well, actually, by never enter that assessment na lo for me.
Me fella work with him Auditor General for him looking na what me felt like for two deliverables na at the end of the year. Me felt like him an annual report. So annual report, ministerial performance, general overview of how na you perform lo work plan blue. And me felt story with him, Auditor General, and say this is a good start. And say, but there are areas say where we felt need for improvement. But the content of the PM Form 1 basically to file a deliverable for the year, and then we felt try for tracking to what the behaviors look at that.
So it just seems to me poor Auditor General, he's a bit like a plumber. I always tell him to encourage him, ironically. Say, you walk a blue was in plumber, yeah? Time toilet block. You go open them septic tank here, soak away, or you pump them out. Smell them every ravish inside here. Sorry now. So then he issues his report. And these reports are damning reports. He doesn't hide anything. Tell him straight no, hey, something awesome, lose low place here. Records no stop because of hide him, you mean him, and so forth. But no accountability. So meeting him was the first thing, Lo Yuval, is Yuval no wait for him refer Lo Yuval more. Police should be waiting for referral. Nobody, ICAC shouldn't be waiting for a referral either. Him issue report blow him. It is then incumbent on you as the, in charge of the wider public service to then take it up, have a look at it and see, okay, what now implications blow this one, and therefore what can we do? So your own process kicks in. You don't wait for him to formally write more. I have this grievance against police and ICAC and Ogatetu. We will wait for him refer. For what here? Ma'am, give him a report now. So if he doesn't refer, then that's an excuse to do nothing. So it just seems to me, I think you need to improve this tool. And there has to be a way to invoke, force you, to compel you. You should already be doing it anyway, but perhaps it should be in the law to say that reports below internal audit, below ministry level must deal with him. If ministry level not deal with him, you should be watching. Do they deal with that? So in that report himself, how many reports now come from internal audit below UC level? And what now issues? How now you address him? Then if you're satisfied with their responses, you leave him now. You deal with the high risk norm and come back to you. And then, of course, then Auditor General is the external auditor. That must come to you directly, the responsibility. But it has to enter into your tools for assessing performance. If none of this, accountability, hem come lo salary blow money, you cut him salary blow money, hem fear him, then ting lo hem all lo hem affect him performance. If you're assessing performance, but salary same no more, hem come lo 8 or hem come lo 11 for worker, but salary same, of course he's going to come at 11. Who wants to work more? If he delivers 5 of the 15 objectives and he still gets the same pay, of course he'll deliver 5, it's less. It's just common sense, no? But it takes those tools to force it. Anyway, you like comment, but I think we'll leave that issue there. Alongside productivity. Sorry, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. A question: how independent is the professional standard unit?
PS, yeah.
In terms of the PSC law ministry, it's one division of ministry, so it's a division with the Ministry of Public Service.
I'm not got a little bit independence for doing work of them. It has to be. And by him must take instruction from the PS?
Yes, that's the normal process. So
if the reports for discipline come and PSM say leave him, no investigate him back, no investigate na.
Currently the way I'm arranged in terms of the instruction, what to happen, PSS send him come to ministry, me instruct him the division for doing the investigation. But currently, me no look him in like the practice we done. Once him come, if I investigate na, me no put him off or stop on the table or pending train. You move on. I mean that's the current practice involved in this time. Yeah. So in terms of the audit report, I think last week with the AGM come office, so was a story. So we are moving to some sort of direction in terms of looking at audit report. Thank you.
That's very good. But we'll wait for him come to office.
The additional question is, if it is an administrative matter, by him come through you to the Public Service Commission, must through you to the Public Service Commission. Ought not say go report here, no say go direct, yeah? Okay, if it is a criminal matter, him have to come through you before him go to police?
No, the criminal matter usually what directly put him to police. It's a different process whatsoever. If all process here in terms of it's a police case, a criminal case. Police and deal with him. Now we follow government interference.
No, the question is, if I now find him that it is a police matter or a police case, him have to come through the PS before him go to police?
If investigation am carried out and him find that's the criminal nature, the things in criminal nature, we submit it through PS and go to police now.
Same too if him have to go to Leadership Code Commission. If there is anything to go to Leadership Code Commission, he must come through the PS. With the findings of the professional standards unit. Yeah?
LCC will provide the report to professional standard.
Okay, me look him lo bill, yeah. Law Division 6, 72. There must be a delegation from the commission before the professional standard units have investigate. Look, Lobelia,
Close one number.
36, clause 72. C. 72,
72.
72 2C. If delegated by a commission, investigation, so him little bit go famwaya. Who now by put him go KCL or commission, but still evolve. I mean, public service ministry or each separate ministry now by go. And if commission him say no, I'm deal with him or say no, I'm finished now or.
Thank you, Honorable Kuku, for that question. In terms of the powers and versus the commission, so commission delegate come power come lo PS public if for doing now investigation or any officer or whatever. So if discipline him outcome that person him terminated or whatever, person shall appeal back the commission, the decision the PSM give him. So commission either him go with him what PS public service and tell him or him reinstate him money back.
PS, me believe him that in the current act, him not delegated there. Him wakam law ministry no more for doing. Now him become a delegated responsibility more. Why the shift?
Sorry, Chair, I think let me explain him in something. I think for the commissions, only Public Service Commission, no more him delegating disciplinary conduct law PS for public service. The other two commission, although Mifalna responsible for admin and secretariat blotter, they could not delegate him yet. Powers blood in terms of discipline, yeah? The police, judiciary and the commission, they never delegate him. Only Public Service Commission no more, and we further delegate him down law, PS for public service. So the professional unit here, hem part of office for PS. Because only PS no more, commission and give him delegation to so if you look in the setup of the office, it's law PS because of the delegation John him giving me.
Yeah. Just for clarity, no more. Me ask on investigation, not discipline. Yeah? So even if for investigate, commission him delegate him investigation too. No more him work no more blow ministry.
It's part and parcel of the process of discipline to investigate reports or to referring. I mean.
So that delegation is a general delegation.
Yes, delegation. Yeah.
I mean, no, on a
Have not come with him.
case by case.
Delegation is a process of Senate by follow. Me not come with him.
But again, the
investigation.
delegation is
Power.
a general authority.
Yeah, authority no more.
And then case by case, you follow no more.
Yeah, me will deal with it.
So when it comes to that, the professional standards unit, can they initiate? It just seems to be the way it's structured. I mean, they can't initiate an investigation. So if there was a report in the Solomon staff, for example, about a misconduct or alleged misconduct,
The current practice no more, referral no more. If somebody report him, then
or then if a Lulu.
based on what is the PS public service receiving, then we act on.
But if it's in an audit report, but nobody takes it up, nobody does a referral, then you follow the dementing too.
I mean, that is what happened. I say.
That's the challenge now. So, Chair, we are dealing with it at the moment based on our meetings with AG, we are dealing with the issue at the moment. So, level party no mas since it's a public document, ini sabi moving and investigating what cases no more. So that one
Public document. I mean, even if
In terms of, Chair, the PPS responsible for that officer should have referred that matter to that officer Blomina hemi Kotaplo this
yeah,
report.
but if PS2 involved with them, well, ini trouble.
Just hard blow.
The issue raised by North New Georgia is really pertinent. We must have a system, and the system only works when it's inspected. So that inspectorate part lohem, must arm's length.
Yeah.
So that make sure system work good. No good now. Fish and chips lo every part lo system paralyzed now.
I think the current act here talk about no for process of administration no money, but when you bring to that one him not captured law the bill, lawyer, and him defining too what is conflict of interest, which is not in the current
Ultimately from Mike MP.
current act. Yeah. There's scenarios said, Chair, where happening in the public service. One is an officer register company, then same company apply back more for any project law ministry. Yeah? Then officer go assess him back more, and when name comes, say, no, this is individual me and this is an entity. So that's what happening currently happening. Sir.
Yeah. Yes.
Me no well in cases, but maybe some happening somewhere. But if it referred to me, I'm not Mr. Vego, but maybe stories around the same. But for let somebody for game come me for look them na me look, but yeah, maybe there are certain cases. Only some cases no is that where there's a case him come in terms of somebody being a member of MTB. They approve a project where somebody him relate ko no naman him member MTB to someone na take him. So currently me for la PSU him look them lo cases just because I'm reported na me for going to look them.
I was seeing in the newspaper yesterday a complaint of something similar. Secretary of CTB and blame or spouse blame or something or some. Sometimes people make wild allegations. Other times, smoke comes, usually a little bit small fire underneath. It does need to be looked into. One of our problems, and I see here, there's no real attempt to address it. One of our issues is LCC database here. Leadership code is confidential. And that confidentiality need not be breached, need not be pierced if it was shared with you, but perhaps this legislation now should connect them. So public servants, all kata declare them, or me garem shares or me director or something also. Time him go sit down unless something comes up. But it should be reported to you. You should know. You should know what now the pecuniary interests below public servants. The fact you do not know, Emi putum you law very awkward position, putum government law awkward position. LCCM keep him something a secret. And then when CTB deals with tenders, for example, or any procurement, whether I'm going to tender or no more, public officers' interest should be on a database where people dealing with these kinds of decisions are able to access very quickly within government. If you want to like public, it should be public really. There should be nothing to hide. But at least within government, that you're able to access and you're able to see, oh, man, all same, I'm got shares for this one, oh, company, bid for this one, and you're able to make more arm's length decisions. But it doesn't need to be linked in because it seems like from one MU Talem, more and more officers are taking up commercial interest while still being in the service of the public. Is that something that you considered?
Yeah, hem law, the definition of the conflict of interest in law.
Chair, in terms of public officers entering into business, it's two sides. Before they involve business, they have to ask seeking permission below pays for public service, and that one important. If pays public service no approve, that means if anything on the run outside, illegal na. Like and become an issue na, it's a discipline issue na to. If that person been a public servant and running for a sideline business, and then that business here got a conflict of interest no. In many instances, me follow no give him approval him if that thing that involve looking that him having a conflict of interest in that business.
Also, if him got a business here before him become public servant.
Okay, that one you have to declare on LCC, and the letter could be sent to us. So actually, the only database for LCC, me follow be sorry in terms of the one finishing. Like what I will approve there, LCC, and have a copy of it too in terms of the letter. So sharing that information to other stakeholders now, and no go in terms of what you talk about, like member of CTB or MTB or ministry. If there's a company and you say that mana MTB watam galam letter lo that business blame too apply kami, that process na actually him no good. But in terms of approving those for Golo being a member, I mean garden business, then you declare LCC, yes, PS public service naman say kim approve for kata if him. But there's not everyone that apply take him. There's certain cases that apply kami, you look at man mana admin officer, then look him guy was stationary soap mo, then bang order lo diyan mo, so that time say no straight them na, because there's going to conflict of interest straight away, unless this thing outside where you look that you weigh that or this one but no got conflict of interest. So if you see that man apply come from let's say I'm from MID, then apply come from building contracting to company, that definitely no. I mean you cannot give that 100% yes to him, because there's really going to be conflict of interest, not just because I'm on a company, and then him work on MID too, that architect, then you cannot really tell him where no man bedroom line, because
so only with him or spouse blame or ignin, where do you draw the line?
Usually the other picking in the wife, I'm no part of it, only person no more. Suppose him become a director, him now him is suppose the business law wife and Pikinini, that one no inside scope application.
Do more behind just I want to take you on to the need for a professional cadre. Was that considered?
Yeah, me follow part of this whole new reform of public service bill, and then on the new general orders we are looking at that. Professor Kada, we are looking at 6 actually.
6 different.
Yeah.
What now 6 fale? Name him come.
Health and medical, or the digital, admin Kada,
Something.
no that
Lawyer?
all different, or the nurses different, medical different. Think this and you mentioned come there comfortably kasi 6 fale, and just slip up from brain bromilum. So we also looking at if you have this system in place, you also going to face away the scheme of service where you got them across the service for people. Because actually it was that one actually him equity, like there's certain level him different from what others taken, but we go through the same process of education, school, and in the same country, but this one never based on job evaluation. For example, now if a level 5 nurse hospital is taking the same pay as a chief officer of ministry, because in that one come with the scheme of service, other allowances come in, so time take home pay come, it's much bigger than the admin officer working in the other ministerial or public service. So we are looking at that. And also, in terms of now, you look at, as you go up, on top of tin too, unless somebody him out and somebody sound stable there. So we are looking at having a system whereby people control the pathway as they go up. Currently, as you go tin on top of him, so most from being an maybe a technical person, what eventually to admin cadre because that's a pathway to become an executive up there. So in terms of the cadre, the senior executive stream, the professional administrative stream, healthcare, law and justice, technical and operations stream, and general administration. So I'm now got a central cadre. If there's a need to be for look at other cadres should come inside, we also look at that. We have not included in
So
that.
that's only done at the administrative level.
And by I'm down low the new general orders and once I'm done that one, then the regulation and by me specify those cadres.
This one good, this one. You know, we were dealing with the minerals bill before Kamlulu Bill Blufel. And one of the issues raised by some key stakeholders is capacity below ministerial mines, department division below mines. I think two-file geologist or one-file no more, something or same. They're making these, big decisions that are probably considering, very important technical data that might put us in a better stead. So for people like that, they'd have to leave and go work in industry or go into an administrative role. So then we lose technical. We should be able to pay those people equivalent to PS to keep them in the service. So flexibility to be able to keep our technical people working at the technical things they're good at. That has to be the epitome of making sure public service delivers. We want them to same for doctor. He's a good surgeon. We want him in the theater, operating go, and retire in the theater. But pay him go, maybe even pay him more than the PS. We must have that level of flexibility. But him no tempted, me go apply, go deputy secretary, or me must go PS. They don't need to go. We've trained them to be. So is that what's going to happen?
Yeah. Yes. That's the pathway for local now. Yeah. Like we also look at that as a very important issue because there are many local technical people too at the ground where what the worker public service no looking good pass somewhere or go now, and we also train them, and also now we also the public service one for mandate blend for local now for training more the scholarship get towards more technical people, not ministries for go to school. Yeah? So we are talking with CITES about this one too, yeah, because the current arrangement in terms of having more technical people for go, you'll see the graph a little bit mismatched here. There are certain ministries where taking more people will train, others or no go no, just because they don't meet the criteria. One issue too in terms of the site as a portal, time of apply for scholarship here, you'll find that time site as a game because public service I'm not involved inside, but what apply no more go now. So in part no public service come inside.
Right, true.
Time the list them come now, come to ministry now. Them say PS public service these people apply come for 100 for scholarship lo government na. So me look through a list here, then me give na lo team lo David. This David look at this list. Check whether it's still on probationers. You check mana yang public officer tu kan type of them. But you'll find that in the list here sometimes sort of meeting criteria for school ba. They're still probationers. You can't send a person in probation to school. And sometimes at least, public, you check TPF number, money on number of them too, where should be a public servant. And also you find that kind type here, have to go to school now, and then you space for public servant 100 spaces, but deplete down now, up to 60. No, you send them go. Just because system na I'm not allowed. So we are talking with CITES in terms of the process now have to come through the public service. Me for that look him that a need, yeah? Okay, Ministry of Same need enough 5 engineers. We give those scholarships to them and they apply. So what will happen now is that ministries, they apply to the ministerial, the Public Service Training Board, or Ministry of Public Service. So once the board them approve, then tell them Ministry of Mines, 5 man apply come. Then after 5 years, 4 for selecting. Then will tell them back, look, you apply to the site as a portal. So it apply to site.
No more now. What apply come lo you will no more.
Before was the
Before Muslim na.
No more. This time you said do him no more.
time every training tertiary one have to go through citation.
So in that way, time I'm going to set as a portal, I'm going to system na. So end of the year, set as saying, okay, this is a list to give come na lo ba. So me check mo, o mane no saki lo middle, time middle year, o mane no terminated, o mane no do many discipline issue, me check ba okay I'm set. So inform minister you by next year go na, and then imi look too. Now you find that some ministries so 34 man na go, 20 others 0 na. Just because of the minimum criteria for application. So we are not doing that at the moment. So for next year, I think bye-bye. We will try for measure na base law the need na, because you may have to go with them opportunities to or game come where the need law ministry and different. So this actually we have to intervene in certain situation, certain ministries. We were needing people for go train, but no. So we have to write directly law the set na. In terms of this, I need of public service. You could include in the list because 64 no, not 40 year. This one we like we fill him up, help him water.
Good.
So that's what we did this year. That's why some others would go this year. So for process him followed properly, him now so we will try for demo same. Thank you, Chair.
This one very important because so technical ministries me talk about mines as finish here. Hey, you me barawa. You know small problem. Big problem now. Training, is a mid-term investment. Or train for geology or mining engineering or get various fields there. That's going to take a number of years. So if you meet the delay, absent-minded about it, you may problem now. The other problem, of course, it's not yours, but problem law, ministerial education is the supply of students to the technical fields, because it seems when we were dealing with the mines bill, there was the general consensus that what students believe in are really interested in science and mathematics, and so I'm effective now intake to the technical fields. So it is a problem, structural problem that we will need to address. Structural education system, a shift, a deliberate shift by design to STEM. That's a matter you may run a mistake lohem for pushum. But so me happy for him that 1 PS, but you need to make it irreversible. You need to make sure that public servants wishing to do training first come through their ministry, so their stocks are not being depleted, and then after that come to you, not lo saitesa, come lo you will know. Then you will know. Talem go saitesa give me so many osem hem now name loget money. Admission loget lo here now. Saitesa doesn't need to go and reassess what you've already assessed. I mean, this is just more bureaucracy shoving paper around. They don't know more than you do. You probably know way more than they do because you've got all the information from sponsoring ministries. So maybe work on that one. And the legislation is, should be able to allow that to happen. But these are personnel decisions, personnel issues. So it should rest with you, not with them. Open, receptive, this one?
What open up, yeah.
Yeah, understand.
Understanding. Actually, it's quite a lengthy process. We have to call out Carbon Ministry, we'll discuss. Eventually, they agree to it. So, we will instruct them, because this day, we're in charge of training, so we call them to come and then follow up with them. So, actually, we timeline them to when we end them soon, so they report back to us in terms of so. They agreed. Firstly, or no agree them to us. Later, no. Discussion go on. They begin to understand what not for tell them what, and then this time not open up for it.
So may I add to what used to be done in the public service in the past? Every February every year, public service, the Ministry of Planning, we went out to the ministries collecting where training needs, and from that one we give it to NTC. Then NTC put law training for public service, in-service training. Then the ministries, Basaplam Kamna, names both Hunas, what I am for these opportunities. And from there, the Kamlo board, the board approved, then it goes straight to NTC, not go through any system, go straight to NTC for approval. Then the officer went on training. But now things change. Everybody have to apply through the portal law, Saitesa.
You may look, if Gogo arrangement believe all no waka, maybe you will take him out. So public service training him matter for public service. You make those decisions. Or get pay him no more bill or out in budget come level two or something or something.
Okay.
But in the meantime, it is better that Ministry of Education or Saitesa hemi allocating both the budget and hemi administer. But of course, you have to be the lead agency, not them. They're the implementing of
yeah.
scholarship side. No more. Sorry, we're going to say something.
Chair, I think that's the very important point here. I think it's captured in the bill that every application must be received and considered by the Ministry of Public Service. Hemi, this was a portal here. A pathway for application, no man. Nothing to do with awarding. Him place where every application. Him also in one ballon box. Go, you drop him every application form. All same, no man. You create your own portal. Then your final candidates now go to them for awards, no man. Will make it easy.
On his recommendation.
Yeah.
Wonderful good thing too. Mania Minister of Education, Minister of Public Service, Minister of Education mo we could look to ministry.
So, by more right, no more.
Okay.
Yeah, just do it that way. That can also apply to teachers too. Yeah, just but facing the same as public servants too. Or to apply everyone go to portal. So, teachers on probation, teachers were. Or everyone, yeah, or to apply them. So maybe if teachers take them out, block it and put in the Ministry of Education syllabus, and then the list no more go. Make them the general one and open categories, you know, go to portal. But that can be discussed. Eh? Yeah. A good point.
Me just like for raising another issue, Lungo Silo decentralization. I see the provision here for secondments. So I mean codifying current practice. But you know, if it's an if either provinces or you may move into federal state government, but even if the existing law and the provinces have more authority over personnel issues, eventually someday Honiara cannot run the rest of the country, and therefore the provinces must have more capacity. That day is probably not yet, but it's not far off. How is that going to be managed? It would seem to me secondments are an interim kind of mechanism.
Thank you, Chair, for that question in terms of decentralization. As you rightly stated, and Mr. Lubili, in terms of secondment. So the current arrangement is that at the provincial level, we second officers or the co-position. Say, we second him from the Ministry of Provincial Government. They were sent to the provinces. The current arrangement, I think, go into the new future no more by me seconding people unless there is a change in terms of maybe the law have changed in terms of federalism coming and then they have their own people to work. For now, changing, but for now, we may go as status quo, no? Whereby if they need them come, Ministry of Public Service and approve them or the positions and then send them to. So currently, we are also focusing on them. We have been supplying them with several new positions too, provincial government, paid for by the ministries, but they are less second levels from the Ministry of Provincial Government. And also we also contracting them as well in terms of those of who take them na good people for go work of provinces, premier lot provinces.
So is it a matter that should await federal state reform, or is it a matter you can go ahead of the curve? It seems to me we're getting, we're building up through the training, and also we're building up some capacity. Capacity logat provinces baratin tumas and we tumas it is in our national interest to really strengthen provincial government administrations, both technical and administration. So perhaps it's something you should be moving a little bit more aggressively. I mean, take health. So the director of health in a province is a seconded officer. Virtually everyone is a seconded officer. Education, ministry chief education officer and so forth. So it's a central government, but going and go stop under provincial health or provincial education. Central government why can't they just go directly and be part of province? Because the cost would be the same anyway. I mean,
I think that's a very good suggestion in terms of moving forward. I think David, you could elaborate on more, because actually for current assessment too, 2023, 22, David? Yeah.
Okay.
I think,
DS.
Thank you.
DS what? But technical?
Workforce management.
Post management.
Okay. Make him long to myself. Workforce management. You DS what?
Governance performance management.
What a long title. Are you good? Workforce management.
Thank you, Chair. I think the intention of the government that time was in 2022 was to moving public service down to the rural areas. Yeah? So we carried out an audit on infrastructures, yeah, and also whether what schools are available for beginning public offices, send them what to go down to. So what our finding was most of the rural centers blame here, especially outer stations here. Infrastructure no problem. There was no offices out of beyond repair na, yeah? Even not accommodations. So I think before we moving public service going down, I think Ministry of Provincial Government should be work on improving water conditions, water houses, especially the rural outstations. Yeah. So we covered Volcano Province, Lambi, Marau. We went to Central Province. We go down to Hakama Agriculture Station. We went to Munda, around Munda. We went to Malaita Province, Malu, Atori, and Afio.
So if we did that, so I grant that supporting infrastructure log at outstations be limited, even perhaps in the provincial capital. So leaving that aside, assuming, say, for example, if we fix those, we've addressed those with provincial governments, do we have supply of enough personnel able to decentralize services to provinces? And what would be the impact here and provinces? Would it thin our capacity here? We're already struggling in the center, therefore multiplying by 9 would put us in not make it not viable? Or are we able to do it just in terms of supply of personnel? And if that is going, because we're times, Honiara times 9, is that how much of an increase would that impose in terms of personnel numbers and possible budgetary cost?
Thank you, Chair, for that question. In terms of personnel, I think the population of us people were trained actually every year, high number in terms of people coming up from university. For example, let me give an example for you in terms of like last year, we have a graduate program at the Ministry of Public Service, and usually we first I think 20 every year. So time for doing advertisement in terms of advertisement for what graduate training. Number kasi for the 20 position 160, 180. So you see a number of people coming in. Graduate, I'm stuck a little bit in terms of us, the manpower. Maybe the important thing now is in terms of the availability of infrastructure and housing for provinces now, and the other issue in terms of funding for maybe salary block at times if you want to go to provinces. Because currently you find that there are certain ministries where they have positions in the budget, payroll, but what cannot go down, no, because what have to fill no position because what no sabe go out provinces, no house no more kind of office no more too. So you'll find that out position stop full time no there now. So we are talking with them in terms of if you know using position there, you should maybe give another ministry when need me, because this has been idle for 5-6 years in Simon. Why don't you? Because the thing is that if you put in that position, then you build structures for them from go stop and do work. So we find that there are certain ministries where what a film of position say, but the what stop lo honera no more, what go on no more for dream 2 account by question. These are technical ministries where what stop lo government.
Just for further add on to our findings, apart from infrastructures, I think one sad reality about secondary staff below me, one sort of go stay low there. Mother Ministry forget them about now.
Hey.
Yeah, in terms of training, short-term training, they also isolate him. So the process itself too, and also what we find. Once Mother Ministry send them go malo agriculture, go there. In terms of technical training or upskilling or same, but forget them out and law. So that's our general findings. What we find during our infrastructure, is one, enabling infrastructure, and also mother ministries when they second them somebody post him go low place or same. Even for visiting Okata, Patali or same, they never.
So now you have a management tool for that aspect?
We draw what we call the performance management, I think, in terms of organization, yeah.
So you saw how many now post out?
Yeah, we
and
have
then you saw the ministry in touch with him. What now the issues brought outside, you will know, huh?
We have, I think we, last year was the final 2024 na final summary report what we find.
So after, Chair, after the report and produce, we talk with the ministries. We follow consult with the finish in terms of the findings. Law what team go down and been reported. After MCAM, we follow talk with the ministries who have been in the offices. We will be interviewing law ground time team go. So we are addressing some of the issues now in terms of the offices, secondary office law provinces.
Yeah, just finally for me anyway, in terms of budgetary implications, current budget is almost 2/3 fund recurrent. Estimates, of course, a big chunk of that is the civil service itself, remuneration. So obviously any growth in that by any reflected inside law budget 2 year, but so it will look forward to the future year. What is that rate of growth? I mean, the challenge for more delivery of services and big. How do you see that going into the future?
Thank you, Chair, for that question. I'll answer it, and Mami ask him to for DSA for contribute calmly. In terms of the growth law manpower, public safety and budget implication is increasing around. Like if you look at the table for game in terms of like in 2021 1.2 billion more salary, and as you go Kasim this year, 1.7. It's been a growth in terms of budgetary allocation law ministry. So actually, around 5-10% increase in terms of the manpower cost law government. So it's a big amount in terms of costing law government. But also you can see that the government is the biggest employer of the country. It's not the private sector. Government and big employer of the country. So we also discussing this.
What figures, no, including teachers, eh?
No,
including teachers, na.
Oh, okay.
The total manpower, na. Payroll budget, na. This includes teachers as well. So it's going to be an increase in terms of 5 to 10% every year. But what also we are looking at is also looking at ministries utilizing vacancies. Yeah, we have staff law ministries before ask for new vacancy. Because currently there are around 1,000 plus vacancies and stop it. And if ministry will come next year, ask him, oh, me like in triple month, but establishment believe got 20 or 30 full vacancies. So why do you have to ask more? This could be used for other ministers really need him. Those you got him not there, bye-bye. So that's the strategy we're using this year. So if ministers like for us for more increase in manpower block ata, but we look first time na lo establishment block ata. Oh, well you got them 20 to 30 positions there. Why don't you utilize that one before you come ask for? Let others who have no government budget for that one. We could critical areas, critical intervention area government like him. Those areas name supporting first time. But those of you where you got them finished there, have no need to ask more. So that's the strategy we're using towards for the 2026 budget. Thank you.
Yes.
In terms of the size blow, payroll blow, you mean, most establishments, but ministries, they're not fully filled there.
Not fully what?
Filled. We still have vacancies. For that will cost here, in terms of actual, it's not what is 1.7, but that is what our budget.
Yeah.
But in actual cost and below normal, that actual, I mean, what is in the budget. For determining straight number, what not real cost go public service, in terms of salary, you need go lo actual manpower and the field one, you know, that we can determine this the real cost of the public service.
So there is some room, those who low bottom law establishment here. You know, I'm talking about cleaners law here, lot offices below me and out money. Okay, me also, me forget about start na how are they, their welfare being, the remuneration?
In terms of the non-established here, level 2 here, as of this new bill here, by it's not that non-established by no money. They will establish positions in the ministry. So
And then in terms of pay?
maybe we are looking at moving them up a segment in terms of that level 2, go up level 3, non-established now. So there are certain ministries, if I work with them what finish in terms of this one, we're looking at the budget of payroll and look at this, then if I move more from level 2 or go level 3. The other areas where for like in terms of the terms and conditions, we try to addressing like him or some, for example, if you give call out public servants, those are top number take.
Oh yeah?
I mean, or take more. Because certain percentage down or down, yeah, maybe less no more. So we also look at some areas where we must improve, like some additional allowances and come in for what down up here. I'm set now. Down and come down and now we are working. So team policy team law DSN for work on them. We're working with more two several areas as well in terms of. So we are setting a plan now. Then we are also trying to help them as well in terms of one.
Good.
Yeah.
After me.
Yeah. What man blame me? So if I like real help them, like for example, one of the reforms will do in terms of annual package, but I'm affecting what too. I mean, actually, everybody across the board, whether you big boss or no more, I'm same no more, really same, but certain difference no more low rate there, but I'm not really big difference. For example, now a level 2 cleaners have same go and live. I'm taking 9,300 now.
Oh yeah?
Pay on the payday. I'm not waiting more for look at them pro forma come the name.
Flat rate for everyone?
No, for certain levels.
Okay.
So the PS now I'm around 13,300. So as you come down, so the bulk is about 10,000, 11,000 ba? The bulk, level 9, 10. So in the past, they used for, even look at the pro forma ba? For you, so same time money hold them, ticket no ready too. You come back work. Now same time you on leave. Sila ni payroll na. So you go to bank, you take them. So actually, you're feeling at the pocket of the public servant in terms of. So within 10-year period, someone start taking 100,000 na, in terms of the annual package as well. So me am to the geo where to go. So you know go village blue na. Depends on you where to go. You like go to town no more here, go to Auki no more if you go kind of same. So the whole issue is helping that person no more in terms of beefing not positive.
Yeah, so that's a good theme to end on for today, helping the person, public servant. Losad lo housing. Last time you were to talk about him. Oh, by housing, you pay him go normal salary, business plan for find him house. Where are we with that?
Okay, in terms of the housing, there's a housing committee when Garam Ministry, which includes the public service, housing, and then finance. The only issue when will come this time in terms of tax, tax no more issue lo tax law, housing law, public service. So, we will intend for implement the second, third quarter happen. So now, actually, we will do costing happen. Yeah. So in terms of reforms of public service, but we will take them whole change piecemeal. Yeah. So what will happen is that those who got under the PSRS in the first group for go, because same is at budget finish. So there are options available. One is because simply give na the normal one look at it, but tax can 40%, mamanya ba na yun, back to square one. Ba bukan house na, but can rent them garim. So we are looking grossing up that like grossing up na for rate. For example, sa same money by taking 4,000, you making more 5,000. So tax ka kaya down a little bit. Those are the areas na for look them. So actually the IRD would income respond about finish, so we are working that. Once and finalize any time during this month, we could go straight to the fourth quarter, those or 3 days ago. But hopefully, next year, I'm starting now. So this one, but I am more issues no more than I'm going on. So those who are under the public service scheme, the first one to go. Once to go, then other lots have come behind.
So why can't you just get IRD for accepting? Hey, no tax him. Housing component leme, but if you pay him go low, work money now side low. If him find him cheaper rent, him save him, or him stop low on house for him, well, him help with him mortgage payment. Tax.
I think
government no more too, yeah.
This is nothing but speak more because I'm chair of task force here. So.
Oh, okay. Or tax inside tax force too.
Thank you, Chair. Situation na law policy, at call him public service housing assistance policy. State him that time by pay him go this for rental eligibility, and by him subject na to 10% tax. So that's what the policy says.
For that component.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I
But
mean, same with him withholding tax below rent, no more.
So time go up law IRD or to say according law tax income tax act. Time selenium deposited go as housing assistance. I'm subject to tax na, and the normal tax by apply, which can go up to 40%. That 1 year na, so mi fal no sabe how for. Mi fal dialogue with them IRD and options where hotalem kam na to fal either do him gross up so that apply him go tax and arrive law normal eligibility, or if no more, then increasing rental eligibility, then apply him go normal tax as it is. Those issues are not to do with the policy, and say 10% and income tax act, and tell him the application law normal tax here. So that one area where cause him the delay.
I mean, withholding tax on rent is really tax below tenant, I below landlord. So me got him house, you public servant, you come rent lo me. You withhold him 10% low rent, you give him lo me, but then tax below me, tax below income below me low rent here. So it's not a tax on you as the public servant. In that sense, you do need to preserve that I, as the landlord, need to be taxed. The business of providing you accommodation. But if you're living in your own house, or you find them alternative or cheaper, and also you shouldn't be penalized for it. Because we do want to encourage more public servants to take a mortgage, buy a house, build a house, and the rest of it. It needs to be in a wider ecosystem policy. Then story with him, IRD. IRD patlo government you know, God that one. Miss sense him get something here. I mean, if it needs, I don't know whether that's a matter for Minister of Finance for doing, but I'm sure a cabinet paper would find government resolution to do it. And then serve him that objective. We want more public servants to own their own houses. That has to be a policy goal for us.
Mamara.
Oh yeah, Mamara, you will hold him now.
Okay, Mamara, group la yan to deal with him, but I'll speak before Yalim come. Mamara is an issue involved with him this time. Actually, Mamara housing is classified because under the policy, there's a policy of rent to own, rent to own policy under the housing policy for public service. Yeah. So Mamara is going to be classified as a housing rent to own policy area. So that means that those that rent Mamara by deduction rent now, based on housing policy, na babahem deduct. So once the deduction happen, then babay kasi amount him kasi miya, then house him taking for him now. Government selling house for him now. That has not been done it based on the policy this time. Yeah. This policy we talk about housing assistance for him issue to IRD. Once that had been sorted out, then that could be extended to them. So we also doing one assessment done to the housing Lomara this time in terms of the cost. So now, while waiting for that, team by those who occupy Lomara by asking what to buy them now. Once or no buy them, then they could, or no sorry buy them, they could move out from the property and then we put that house for others who have payment what house Lomara. Because to us, long-term issue na lo in terms of Mamara, like immigrants taka house lo honyara finish but if you for maintaining Muslim is quite going to be an expensive thing. So one thing is that imi give more public service no more house here. It was a payment if the policy come into place and then they could having na rent to. Jan, you could speak on that as well.
Yeah, so they would after the completion of what the houses here, or what the developer allow na what the several public servants where what to go occupy na without the administration below this public service housing committee. So currently me feel a little bit finding challenge for housing out, and the other issue now is PS Taleme. Rental we're about to use him to the same rental public service housing assistance na by or use him for rent to own, and that issue was subjecting to the 10% tax under the policy and the income tax act there him also.
So public service now allocate him go offices, what offices go kasi magot lo down no more then Derek no I think. They not go take him house na?
That's what happened in terms of those houses.
My what true ani?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Who na onam mo the houses eh?
Okay tiyan na
Actually, the house below government buy more house here in terms of
50 houses.
so what not costly, but actually now they're public service house.
So every house occupied?
Most like every public service thing inside this time. No?
Ay,
This was part of scandal. 34 million, there was nothing in the budget when it was done. So they had to do any kind of trick. Take him, use him advance warrant more and pay him first time. And then something you all no sabe about, lunch no sabe about, done at the political level. You mean him now. Kaine wants to do him also, fish and chips, no, different something. If not, so you may end up in this world. You may stand up inside mud where Kasim over knee will try for pull him up leg, but I'm stuck. So these really bad decisions made by politicians. But in any case, it is what it is. But I would advise you, PS, to consider talking to NPF or one of the banks to get some conciliatory rates or help them out officers where go make a private decision, not go inside now. But they have first bite to get it. Maybe if public service now help them to get mortgages, it might be a lot easier. Help them. They're public officers to get those mortgages, and then or not by pay more fee, no government, but you help to facilitate that by talking. When the government talks to financiers, it might be easier. 34 million EPS. You recover full 34 if you sell them in Rono. You sell them the same price where government buy them, or more, or cheaper?
We'll by base law, the report, evaluation report in terms of the house na by looking what na the current costing what house based on reporting no kay misave talam listan because I mean currently the house I'm depreciating in terms of people occupying and this is a public savings and no same suppose automatic side na go inside na by the first priority bakit na was stop inside if what na sabi payment then others can come in but anyway but this is a public savings if what no public savings na by me in manat side na same pami quite but this is a public savings we try to help them in terms of garam house too so and now some more issue him time for discussion well team we say what a public savings number 2 so let's look at the way or like a house to go inside so we'll see how we could help them so that's a strategy we for try to issue this time for suppose for Tom Dick and Harry na go inside na I'm not embarrassed was money eligible for go stuff inside but the thing is that they are public savings. Thank you.
Yeah, well, talk with him about banks and NPF, make him help him to secure mortgages. I think that's a good way. What house? Me will go barbecue one vala. So two house one man Bruce Narasait. Me will hear him go now. Ay, man. So call sa pogo. See, okay.
There's executive house.
Me no look him through.
Posted thin, very thin.
Yeah.
No more. And I think what information have not go deep too, so posts for flooring.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
How no?
Or just dig down no more and
I see.
Yeah. So it's very executive.
Yeah.
And that's information from Otman
Stop lo there.
house yan. Ito yan na go inspect lo.
So ito logbook him little bit. Film no mo man.
You clag of Lolante house yan.
I see.
That's very true.
34 million imi torum no solwat man. Para decision of government do me na. But anyway, any further questions more?
Not yet.
If no more, thank you too much for come. By you may, I think part long or close by close, by medium low end time every Nara stakeholder come and present. And then we take it from there. We hope to conclude this maybe early or mid next week, so we can report before 13th next month. So thank you very much for come, and please make that the bigger report available to us, perhaps electronically, if we have access to it. And if there are other issues you want to go on involve thinking around them, let us know as well. And Secretary, we're done for the day. So it should be full day, man. Oh, praise the Lord. Okay, afternoon for a little bit. So in that case, since you may start with him prayer, by me asking member Blonde North, New Georgia for closing me with him prayer because today I'm in.
We pray. We thank you, Lord.